95% of the businesses we talk to are essentially burning money, and they are just being worked through an agency churn and burn system in most cases, and it hurts to see.
Most businesses think their marketing problem is traffic. Today's guest believes the real problem is that brands have stopped listening to their customers. In a world flooded with AI-generated content, the companies that win aren't the ones producing more content. They're the ones building genuine connections with the people they're trying to serve. Grant McKinstrie is the CEO of Digital Position, a full-stack agency that helps e-commerce brands build growth systems through SEO, paid media, content, and conversion optimization. In this conversation, we talk about modern marketing, customer research, community-driven growth, AI's impact on e-commerce, building irresistible offers, and why the best marketers spend more time listening than selling.
Good day, Steve Preda here with the Management Blueprint Podcast, and today my guest is Grant McKinstrie, the CEO of Digital Position, a full-stack agency that builds a growth system for e-commerce brands. Grant, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. Good to be here.
Well, it's great to have you here, and I'd like to start by asking you, what is your personal why, and what are you doing to manifest it in Digital Position?
Well, specifically when we think about the e-commerce space, there's so much crap that is being sold out there. And also in terms of just what AI has done with the industry as well, where it has allowed a lot of people to make a lot of different businesses, sell a lot of stuff, do a lot of drop shipping, all these different things. It's trying to find like kind of the gems, or it's like finding the good people to work with and the businesses that are worth growing at the end of the day, where there's so much good stuff out there that just gets pressed down because either they just haven't worked with a good agency, they just don't know how to market themselves well enough. And I think the drive behind trying to find those people that are genuinely nice to work with and brands that are absolutely worth pushing to bring good out into the world is awesome and very rewarding to be able to do. That's not to say that it's like we're perfect in every way, shape, and form. And it's like every single business that we work with, it's like we do what we can. But all in all, it's like I want to be able to help market products and people and their businesses that are absolutely worth getting out into the world and getting more people to know about them.
Yeah, that's so interesting that you say that, because I had a client in this sphere where you are, and they were a little bit conflicted because some of the brands that they represented, they were not really proud of. And I think it really impacted their culture in turn. They felt that they were not in integrity in with all the clients. And that created internal friction, and it kind of held them back to some degree. So that's fascinating that you talk about this. And I also noted on your website that your average client tenure is over 4 years, which I think bears testament to this. Level up your business. Get my free insights every week at stevepreda.com/newsletter.
Yeah. And in a large majority of cases, it's like, I mean, we've just had certain clients that we've had for 6 and even some cases like 8 years. So it's like, certainly when you have some of those tenures that certainly last a long time, and it's like, sometimes it just doesn't work. And it's like, we are also very willing to openly admit that too. It's like, I don't also want anyone to think it's like, oh, if we, sign up for you, it's like 4 years and then we're just constantly paying you for really, I don't know, whatever reason it might be. But it's like, genuinely, we are here to see how can we legitimately grow the business and actually bring you profit dollars that you weren't seeing otherwise. Because so many businesses that we come across are just not able to allocate their spend or their marketing efficiently. And they're just, I don't know, not to get too much into the nitty gritty of things, but it's just in the general sense, it's like 95% of the businesses we talk to just are essentially burning money, and they are just being worked through an agency churn and burn system in most cases. And it hurts to see. It's like, literally, I just had a pitch 2 hours ago before this call where every single platform they were on was just burning money. They were trying to remarket to people that already knew about the brand and spending money on people that already knew about them and were already going to purchase from them. And the agency is trying to tell them that, hey, all of our metrics are great, but the business is suffering because of it. It happens all the time. It generally results in tough conversations for us because people have such a bad reputation around the sense of what an agency is. And here we're always trying to pick up the pieces and try to revitalize that relationship, which has its highs and lows and in many ways, but we're out here doing the best we can.
Okay, so that's a great segue, because this podcast is all about frameworks, how to do something that maybe other entrepreneurs are trying to do, don't know how to do, but you figured it out.
Mhm.
So do you have some kind of a framework? Maybe it's about getting an e-commerce company up and running on advertising profitably. Maybe it's some other area in your business, which is easy to explain in 3 to 5 steps. Anything comes to mind?
The biggest thing that we have realized lately is what we have deemed as like community engagement, where one, because of AI, you can scrape information so easily across the internet and you can get fed so much crap that's AI is just going to like automatically generate for you. But what really matters at the end of the day is who is your audience and where the heck do they hang out and what are they talking about? So it's like we are constantly looking to inject ourselves within Reddit threads, Facebook threads, YouTube comments, Quora, like wherever that those people possibly are, get into the subreddits, get into those communities in Facebook, get into those either like influencers, comments, or whoever that is relevant within that space and talk to them. Like, see what they're talking about within those threads, engage with them, have a conversation so that you can then understand what actually makes this person tick. Like, what do they truly care about? What do they call it? What are they talking about on a daily basis? So that when you start to either create content at the end of the day to resonate with those people, you know exactly how to attach and connect with them. Because as I mentioned earlier, so many people are creating commoditized products and stuff because of AI, because it's making it that much easier to be able to do, that nobody's truly trying to connect with that consumer at the end of the day. And therefore, you're just going to have so many people that are going to be very numb to anything being thrown in their face unless that they actually feel like they're being spoken to. So the biggest thing is just get to know the person on the other side of the screen. Go to where they hang out, go to where they're engaging, and listen to them. I think a lot of people just forget that and want to just go straight into data, metrics, and spreadsheets and all this stuff when there is a human to human interaction that is happening within marketing on a daily basis. And that is what you need to continue to focus on.
Mhm. Okay, so maybe that's the beginning of the framework. So get to know the person or the customer
Mhm.
or both.
Yeah. And it sounds really simple. It's funny. It's like when you put it that way, it's just like listen to the person that you're trying to sell to, but it's incredible how infrequently that actually
Yeah.
happens. Because
Yeah.
a lot of people will talk about my product's the best. My product is so good because it does this cool little thing that nobody else does. But who really cares unless it's actually specifically solving a problem that somebody has, and then they're able to understand exactly how it is going to make them feel in that moment when that problem is solved, or like attached to their core persona or whatever it might be. It's a very simple thing to have a framework around, but it is the most important thing that a lot of people tend to neglect.
No, I love it. I love it. So the actual framework is, so what does that look like? I understand you go to Reddit, you Quora, you listen, but what is the process? So how do you even know which part of Reddit you should go and what should you should listen to and who the customers are? Give me the rundown. What do you do when a new customer walks through the door and you want to figure out how to make them successful?
Yeah, of course. So I think Reddit's just the easiest example. I think it's what a lot of people are familiar with, but also it provides value because it's related to all the LLMs and what they like to cite a lot as well. I mean, funny enough, one of the best ways to start off is if you have a brand or you have a service or you have something that you're looking to start or build, feed that into AI, Claude, ChatGPT, whatever works out for you, and then just have it at least go through and understand, hey, what subreddits should I be talking into? If I want to, for example, want to sell vegetable seeds or something like that, and I use that as an example recently that we've worked with, or I want to get it more into gardening, where should I go? And I'll reference you to r/gardening, DIY gardening, seasonal gardening, like all these different places that are going to have these communities of people that are very specific when it comes to anything you want to know about gardening. And then you jump in there, and you see people that are trying to talk about, it's like, when should I start to plant my tomatoes? Or when should I look to do any sort of transplanting? Or how do I need to handle like my watering schedule for all these different things? And then you have layers and layers of threads and topics and information that you can gather from any of those topics that people are just giving to you for free and telling you exactly how to handle those things. And that turns into content, that turns into ways for you to just, again, engage with those people. It turns into ads, because if you're able to understand what their pain point is, then you can just make an ad out of that. At the same time, it's like you can still pull a lot of that using AI, but at the same time, the most impact comes from truly engaging with those people too.
So you said that when you figured out what those communities chatter about in your Quora or Reddit communities, then you can engage with them. You can create content, you can create ads, and you can engage. And I'm just wondering, are there other forms of engaging with the customers other than through content and ads?
Good question. So yeah, that's the main part. You can directly comment within those Reddit threads, or at that point, you can start to make your own content within those Reddit threads of like, maybe you start to see a trend of multiple people trying to ask about, how do I start planting my tomato seeds? Or it's like, where do I even start with this? Then you can start to create a entire complete guide within your website, build a blog post around it, or you can then get together with an influencer who's able to make video around it to be able to show you the entire process through a visual element as well. So you're not just doing written content, but video as well. And then you can even look to run ads around that. Because one of the biggest things, for example, with this brand that I'm kind of alluding to is that every single one of their ads or every single piece of content that they were putting out beforehand was very disconnected from the true gardener at the end of their DIY gardener, because everything they showed was a picture of this beautiful, perfect pepper or tomato that nobody ever experiences unless you were just like a commercialized system that is doing everything through all of this technology that they have access to. But somebody in their backyard is not going to have a perfectly round tomato or a perfectly formed pepper. And therefore, no one knows how to get there. So you have to show them the step-by-step part of just like, what soil do you need to buy? Like, what seeds should you go buy? And then you become the product of that system because, oh, I need to buy seeds. Okay, I'm going to go to this company and I'm going to buy seeds from them. And then they also helped me throughout this entire process by becoming that subject matter expert of what to do with tomato seeds. It becomes this kind of system that you then naturally kind of inject yourself into as you create content to connect with that person. Because yeah, the biggest thing was recognizing all of this content they were putting out beforehand. People were like, well, my food is never going to look like that if I plant that out in my backyard. But how can I get there so that I can feel a lot less stressed about even starting? And you're providing this entire guideline for me to follow so that I can be a better DIY gardener.
Yeah, I love it. It's a great approach to basically, figure out where to go and talk to the people and then communicate and create helpful guides for them. And the influencer with video, that's also very clever. So that's how you help drive growth for your clients. But how do you drive growth in your own business?
Yeah, good question. Funny enough, man, it is so much harder to do it for yourself when you are so focused on like other people. Like reflecting inwards is always tough. But what we have recognized lately for us is, man, you have to have a good freaking offer, because so many people or so many agencies. I sat down on Instagram for like 2 hours one day and I just rifled through every single ad for other marketing agencies that are in the space. And everybody says the same stuff. Like, you're doing your ads wrong, or you have no idea what is happening with your attribution within this platform, or Google Ads is making you lose money, or Meta Ads sucks, or all these different things. And everyone's just saying, you should let us do a free audit for you, or come talk to us and we'll help show you what's wrong. It's like, okay, well, there's a pretty big gap there of, okay, then I have to spend all of this time to like chat with you and even figure out if you're a legitimate business, or like if you're legitimately going to be able to figure out my problem and help me. And you're not even offering anything other than just, hey, like, let's sit down and talk about it, when everybody else is doing the same thing. So the offer across the industry is generally weak. And there's been a couple of other agencies that are having a well-built offer. So what we have personally figured out and have been able to do is look into A/B testing, is where we're not even trying to specifically focus on the marketing, because in some cases, some businesses find it difficult to say, hey, our marketing sucks, or like our marketing is our problem. But a lot of people can define whether or not their website sucks. It's like they look at it, it's old, maybe it's not converting as well. It's generally easier to have people make that connection versus the marketing piece. So we've leveraged this offer for A/B testing for just about any single e-commerce business that does over $1 million in annual recurring revenue. We would love to be able to do a free A/B test for you. We will build a landing page for you of your choosing. It could be your homepage, it could be a product description page, it could be whatever. And we will make a mock-up ourselves, and we will come to the call with you and we will show you the mock-up that we have made in comparison to yours. You can decide whether or not it seems better or not. And then if you want to move forward with it, we will implement it on your site for free, and we will do an A/B test for it until we see statistical significance to say our page or your page is better one way or the other. Either way, no cost to you. We just want to show that we are able to provide free value. We're capable of showing something that's even better than what you currently have. If it works out, awesome. Let's continue to talk. If not, no harm, no foul. We weren't able to hit it for you, and it doesn't make sense to continue the conversation.
Yeah. That is impressive. So you're actually building a competing site, and you show them that you could do a better job than they are, essentially.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, I don't know, there's somebody that I interact with is just like, there's no sacred cows. There's no ego in all of this. It's just like, we just genuinely want to show that we can provide value in any way, shape, or form here. It has garnered a lot of interest because it's low friction. It's like, hey, at the very least, when we come to the call, we are going to show you something, and hopefully you like it. And 100% of the time we have done this, everybody loves it. So it's been a great source of at least driving more leads, or at least more conversations or more at-bats for the business, by just having a offer that people want to be able to see value from, as opposed to, hey, I'm going to have an audit. There's going to be a long turnaround time for this. And then we have to figure out the next steps. And there's going to be this big price tag or whatever it is, where we're just going to do something for you for free. If it works, great. If not, you didn't lose any sleep or anything over it.
Yeah, love it. That's pretty cool. And I think what's really cool about it is that you do it without disrupting their existing business. So they don't feel like that, okay, maybe it's a no cost to me, maybe it's marketing thing. But at the same time, if you're interfering with my customers, that's actually a negative thing, because it can create damage. That's my reservation for people who offer to drive business for me. Yeah, but then you want to use my LinkedIn profile and you can spoil my reputation online, because they're never going to allow it, because it interferes with my business. So I love that you found a way to get around this. That's pretty cool.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, we're hoping that it just continues to, I don't know. Fortunately, AI has allowed us to move a lot faster with this, because I think that would have historically been a really heavy holdup. Is mocking up a page is not a very easy task, but because we're able to at least understand the business, be able to generate something relatively quick through our experience and our understanding of how a page should be structured, it works out really well.
Yeah, love it. So switching gears here, let me ask you this. What is something that you're actively trying to figure out in your business?
Ooh, boy. Scale. I think the ability to scale something like that is kind of where I'm just trying to figure out what is going to break next, because historically we have had struggle being able to figure out, oh, we need a really good offer to be able to drive cold outbound leads. We have historically been a referral only business, and that certainly runs out of time, or like isn't as sustainable long term as being able to build a proper, predictable cold outbound system. Now that we have something that is starting to work and we're starting to see more leads come into it, it is now, how do we scale with this and not have the business break if we're able to see a lot of additional leads come in because of this? Because realistically, in the past, it's been rare that we have had so many leads in the pipeline that we don't know how to handle it. But also, we've recognized that the type of service that we provide is generally elevated. Like, we can consider ourselves a boutique service where we know we are not the cheapest in the market, but what we do is we absolutely, without a doubt, will be able to drive additional profit dollars to your business, because we are looking at the full picture of marketing. We're not just focusing on PPC. We're not just focusing on SEO. We're not just focusing on organic social. How do we bring all of those things together and then look at the business as a whole and try to drive actual P&L difference for your business, as opposed to just saying, oh, ROAS in Google Ads is good, so therefore everything is great. It's like, no, that's not always the case. As I mentioned earlier, that can happen, but you're still burning money in your business because you're just retargeting people that already know about your business. So the goal here is to understand that we have a elevated business or an elevated service that we're providing, and being able to find proper talent to help service that, so that as we continue to scale, we're able to provide that at the level that we know we're capable of, and making sure that the people that are coming to the forefront of those conversations for clients are able to deliver on that at all times as well. Hopefully that answers the question for the most part. I think is, yeah.
So if you have the deals coming through, the cold outreach is working, your offer is working, is it just a question of finding the talent, or there are other things that could break?
Yeah, I think it's the hiring and talent for sure. And then the other piece is continuing to keep the operational speed behind it as well. Because the expectation in the industry is dramatically changing from, we used to go from monthly reporting to weekly reporting to people want things to know, like, how are things moving every single day? AI has sped up things in terms of what people expect at a rate that we need to be able to keep up with. And that is certainly one of the more difficult things to navigate, especially when there's 30 to 1,000 new AI tools that are coming out every single day. And then you need to figure out what's the best one that I'm going to be able to utilize long term, that I'm not just going to dump and run to a new one within the next week kind of thing. So yeah, the operational piece has been very interesting over the course of the past couple of years, because yeah, it went from everybody using ChatGPT and leveraging that to all of these different AI transcription tools. You know, we moved into Notion, to now we're using Victor, which is popping off a ton right now, to Claude has obviously made a lot of strides there. And it's how are we continuing to pivot throughout all of these different tools? And I mean, I'm just barely scratching at the surface with those, and make sure that the entire team is able to adapt with that with time as well. Because for so long, you could stick with a single tech stack and a couple of tools for a very long time and not a whole lot would change. But now, because of AI, things are just adapting and changing and improving so incredibly quickly. And the expectations of the client at the end of the day are moving just as fast with that. And you need to be able to keep up with that.
Mhm. I've always wondered about this thing that Steve Jobs said that the two primary functions of business are marketing and innovation. And you are doing one of the two primary parts of the business. And you could argue that marketing is innovation as well. So the two things even converge. So how is it possible for an agency to be able to innovate for multiple clients on a continual basis?
Yeah, that just comes down to trusting the team and having the right people in the right place. And that's why I think hiring is one of the biggest things that we need to be able to focus on. Because of AI being able to raise the floor for so many people, it also has really shined a light on the people that are able to work alongside that efficiently and be able to speed up their process, but also be able to drive their experience to make these decisions really fast. It is just so much more powerful than ever to have a creative mindset and to have that experience of seeing how it impacts multiple different clients and how you can look to shift current strategy at any point in time. And having this childlike curiosity type of mindset to be able to not accept everything as fact and being willing to pivot at any point in time. It is truly making sure that the people that you have around you are willing to adapt and accept that they are not going to be right all the time, but also just willing to try and figure out what is the next step and what is the next thing, and just not sit into complacency. Because if you do, I mean, AI has really rocked your world at this point, if that's the case. So the biggest thing is having people around you in a support system and procedures and training that allow that to naturally happen, and trust that they will be able to follow that and see the vision, or at least try.
That's fascinating. If there is a company that is trying to figure out what do they do, how do they even make sense of what is different platforms, the SEO, moving to GEO or whatever, AI, going to Reddit, Quora, and then the advertising rates are going up and there's new platforms, TikTok and others coming online, and their head is spinning. What do you recommend they do?
Is this
How do
for...
they select an agent? Oh, of course, they should go to you. But how do they,
Yeah.
an agency, what is the criteria for them to even select someone, which may be you?
Yeah. I mean, really, it just comes down to, I mean, anyone that's just growth minded. And maybe I'm not fully understanding the question, but it's like, if you have any passion or drive to be able to grow what you are doing, I mean, you need to be surrounding yourself with people that are constantly looking to push the envelope, whether that be an agency, whether that be an in-house team. And in some cases, it might not make sense for you to have an agency. And that really depends upon a lot of your brand guidelines and how close you hold that to your chest. Because sometimes bringing in an outside agency, it's very difficult to get them up to speed. If you're looking to develop your own internal style of content, because you do have a lot of that protection around the brand internally, is going to make a heck of a lot more sense for you, because they're going to constantly be able to talk in your language, as opposed to an agency that they want to be an arm of your business. But at the end of the day, it's very difficult for that to always be the case. It's like we try to live and breathe that as much as we can, but we also understand there's limitations to that. So I would say if you are a brand that has extremely tight guidelines for your brand, then you need to train internally to make sure that that is built within the culture and within the marketing team, or else everything you put out from that point is going to be completely disjointed from what the brand actually means or is trying to stand for. So therefore, you need to have that in-house, and you need to have more control over that. Otherwise, if you understand that other people have great ideas and you want to be able to leverage that and understand that they are looking at hundreds, if not thousands of different brands and how they're succeeding in the space and being able to leverage that for your benefit, then an agency is the beautiful way to go. And it's generally more cost effective in most ways. You're going to have an agency of maybe 3 to 5 people, maybe even more on your team that is overseeing your account at all times for the same cost as a single employee internally in most cases. So to be able to take the minds of 5 different people that have 5 different types of viewpoints of the world and 5 different pairs of eyes that could look at your website and see things differently versus just one, in my opinion, you're going to win every time. I'm assuming you have the right team behind you.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So it's essentially you are outsourcing your marketing function to an expert team that this is all they do, and they are held to a high standard because they work for a lot of companies and it's fast moving. It's similar to having an internal attorney, or you're using a law firm with, the high-flying attorneys that they are the cutting edge, and you can never replicate the cutting edge environment which needs to nurture these people on the other side. Yeah, love it. So if you're listening to this and you want to take your marketing to the next level, and you want this expert team to be at your service and figure out how to push your brand on multiple channels and content, advertising, talking to your customers, all that stuff, then reach out to Grant. But where can they find you, Grant?
You can reach out to us through digitalposition.com. Feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. Happy to chat with anybody. I am more than happy to share anything I have learned along the way, whether you're another agency or brand or whatever it might be. I firmly hold belief that it's like there is a massive sea of people out there to be able to reach. And I am happy to share any sort of learnings that I've had because, boy, there's so much to digest in this world, and I'm happy to share whatever I know. But yeah, digitalposition.com for anyone that would possibly want to work with us or chat. Otherwise, I'm on LinkedIn and happy to connect there as well.
Well, Grant McKinstrie, the CEO of Digital Position, full stack agency that builds growth systems for e-commerce brands. Thanks for coming and sharing your experience and view of the world. And if you enjoyed listening, make sure you follow us on YouTube and Apple Podcasts, because every week I come with an exciting entrepreneur who is sharing the best of what they know. So thanks for coming, Grant, and thanks for listening.
Thank you so much for having me.
That's it for this episode. Keep moving your business forward. Subscribe at stevebreda.com/newsletter.